Hello there and welcome to another self-promotion, to say the very least. This is a self-promotion for another one of my books. This is The Four Friends, Volume 1. And in Volume 1 we see 4 short adventures featuring the characters Charlie, Brock, Spencer and Anna. Now, I'm only promoting this because, of course, well, why not? And also, this video may or may not be appropriate for this sort of promotion if you have younger ones, because this is a book for younger audiences. So I hope you buy a copy today, or at least pre-order whenever this gets released. Of course, it's released on the 5th of December 2025, and of course, if this video is before or after that time, it really depends, obviously. But regardless, I hope you enjoy the remainder of this video. This is just a very short, shameless promotion for my own stuff so you can give me more money. I mean, entertain yourselves with one of my products. Hello there and welcome to another edition of Rewards Unveiled. This time we're going to have a look at Series 1 REALI-T. I hope you enjoy. Body Hammer, making the grand final, made it the first of 4 robots with an overhead weapon to make it to a grand final. Despite showing talk of the Devil's team in a covered pod controlling their robot for the semi-final fight against Body Hammer, the subsequent shots of the team were taken from their gauntlet run. In the semi-final fight between Body Hammer and Talk of the Devil, Dead Metal's circular saw was covered and unused in the same way it had been for the football trial and Heat C. Presumably this is because of the incident involving the saw blade flying off. There were a series of errors in the labyrinth trial of this heat. For example, Psycho Sprout was misspelled as Psycho Sprout with P-Y-S-C-H-O Sprout, and REALI-T and Body Hammer's placings were mistakenly reversed, putting Body Hammer 2nd and REALI-T 4th. Warthog was the only middleweight robot from Series 1 to compete in any other successive series. Warthog was the only robot in Series 1 to come from Bedfordshire. Due to the speed controller breaking during the robot's introduction at the start of the show, Warthog had to be pulled along on string. Psycho Sprout was the only robot of its design to enter any series of robots. It is the only competitor to have its wheels protected by armor on all sides on TV. It is also the only competitor to be composed entirely of one surface as a result of its spherical body on TV. However, it is technically not the first robot to do so in general, as before the TV series there was the US machine Orb of Doom. Technically, Psycho Sprout was the first robot to have its body capable of acting as a self-righting mechanism, although the monster truck inside it remained upright at all times. The Boy Sprouts are the only team in Robots to win an award and not enter any subsequent series. Psycho Sprout came from Ludlow in West Midlands, making it the only robot in Series 1 to originate from the West Midlands. Grunt was announced to be from Coventry, which is also in the West Midlands, but as a stock robot, it provided it was making up the numbers. It is not truly regarded as coming from any particular county. In the Mandarin dub aired by Taiwanese station Much TV, Psycho Sprout was referred to as Watermelon Head, likely due in part due to his paint scheme resembling a watermelon. Psycho Sprout used the same truck basis for its drive as Saturn. Talk of the Devil was the first robot to have talk as a pun for, well, talk. Team Talk would later use similar puns for their robots All Talk, Small Talk and Fighting Talk. Talk of the Devil was the first Welsh robot to take part in any series of robots. According to Oliver Steeples, Talk of the Devil was not working for the preview, but was fixed in time for the gauntlet. REALI-T fought Full Metal Anorak in the arena semi-final, but had the normal pattern of the semi-final lineups been followed, first in the Labyrinth fought 3rd, second fought 4th, REALI-T should have fought Body Hammer in the semi-final. REALI-T's armor also acted as a weapon, as it was covered in chicken wire. In Much TV's Mandarin Chinese dub of Series 1, REALI-T's name was roughly translated as Foreign Visitors, likely as a result of its UFO-inspired design. While working in the pits, the team members of REALI-T were seen sporting t-shirts reading Deranged Scientists at Work, a nod to DERA, Defence Evaluation Research Agency, facility that operated in Malvern, Worcestershire at the time of recording, where the team members worked. DERA was privatised in 2000 and rebranded under the Quintech banner. Richard Finch of REALI-T stated he attempted to enter a future series, but there is currently no known information on that subsequent build. Finch then stated he hoped to return for Series 5. And that is it for today. Series 1 REALI-T is one of the more controversial episodes of Robots. In fact, it's probably one of the first really controversial episodes of Robots because mainly of that Heat final. Body Hammer seemed to be very much favoured, especially because it was helped out during that heat final, whereas REALI-T was arguably the true winner. Now, Body Hammer would eventually go to become runners-up of Series 1, but again, this makes you wonder what would have happened if REALI-T had won. This episode does have a lot of unique, interesting bits, I guess you could say. The Labyrinth as a trial is a fun trial, I guess. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the Gauntlet nor the trial. I think they're kind of time wasters, and they kind of butcher and ruin the capability of a lot of robots. You know, great robots will fall in these two categories because they get stuck on something or because of some, you know, random event, and it's a real shame, especially when you see them in battle and they actually can function quite well, or in testing or in the rehearsal videos, etc. It's a real shame. But anyways, the trial of the Labyrinth, I guess, is kind of fun, but again, it's just another trial, really. It's early days trials. It's not as good as the British Bulldog, which was absolutely amazing, or even the football, which was also quite a lot of fun. They also bring that on later on in as a side event, or even stock car, come to think about it, or the sumo. Basically, this one is one of the weaker ones. This one and snooker were two of the weaker ones, but it does have some interesting designs, as I've just mentioned. Body Hammer is a very unique looking robot. REALI-T is a very simple but fun robot, and quite an effective one in its own right for its time period. And then there's Psycho Sprout, which is one of the most unique robots in the show's history, which has never been replicated. Obviously, Orb of Doom appeared in 1995, and Orb of Doom was not very effective. It lost to a flying robot with a net known as SPS-2. And so having another robot that was like that, it's quite fun. And I do wonder if it is possible to create robots like that. Like, even if you do one which is for the featherweight category or outweight category, you know, it is theoretically possible to do this again. It won't be effective, but it's just a silly, fun design. But I won't lie, this is a very slow heat. Like, it's not got that energy that other heats have. It's kind of just there, and it's just kind of boring. Nonetheless, I think that is good for the most part, but it's just kind of a slow heat, you know. It's an early day Series 1 heat. What else can I say? There's not much to write home about. It's fine, I guess. It's fine. It's got memorability with Psycho Sprout, and probably the controversy, but that's about it. That's all that I can really say about this episode. Alright, let's have a look at what we're going to get next time around on the randomizer. So next time we're going to go back to Extreme 1. This is episode 3 next time. It's interesting to see how many facts there are about this episode, because this is, of course, one that has international robots. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Robot Wars Unveiled, and I'll see you next time.